Hello, everyone. Good morning to today's meditation. Hope everyone can hear clearly. Yes, so today we are going to talk about charity. Charity in and in this world, in our lives, all of us do have an aim to make some kind of donation and perform charity. We want to do good out of sympathy and empathy for someone, or because we feel for some cause or we are passionate about something. So we want to do this good karma in whatever capacity possible. And we hence take up any act of charity. It may be giving money, it may be giving food or your time or resources, or even contributing your skills, etc. It could be just anything. And um, so there is a sort of an inherent kind of need for most of us to be a donor. Now, um, spirituality is actually telling us that while all this time we have been focusing on the outward aspect of doing the deed or the action of doing charity, right? But it brings with the spiritual wisdom, we are trying to get little more clarity while doing this charity. And what spiritual wisdom is telling us, that outwardly we may be doing anything, any of the acts that we just mentioned, but while doing those actions or deeds, what is our awareness within? What is our inner world thinking about when we are doing that act of charity? And there are two things that we may be getting trapped into. Now, charity we are doing to get some sort of, benefit at whatever level, right? But if we are doing a charity just while being outwardly focused and not inwardly focused, then the good karma or the act or the benefit may be very temporary or short lived. But we all want to do that karma. We are anyways doing a good karma. If we want to get a more long lasting kind of benefit, then or reward of the charity at even a more deeper level, not just um, at a very physical level, but at a more subtle level, then our focus should be more on what our inner awareness is like. So that inner awareness is that if we come into this awareness that we are a soul and we are actually seeing the other also as the soul, so the donor and the one who's receiving the donation, um, both are souls. Now, with this elevated kind of awareness, we are able to bring about a whole different kind of benevolence to the act of charity. And this is what truly uplifts the soul. So, the awareness creates thoughts, right? And the thoughts then create, depending on the thoughts and the awareness, are the words that we speak. And then we do also the deed, right? So, or the action. So there are three or four steps in this act of charity that is happening. So, like we explained earlier, we are just focusing currently on the fourth step, which is the deed or the action. But all the other steps, the awareness, the thoughts, the words, even words we may be still doing, but the awareness and the thoughts have to be a little bit more paid attention to. Because what may happen if we are not in the right awareness and not creating the right thoughts, then it may end up in maybe feeding my own ego or the other's ego as well. Or by ego we just means false identity. The false identity for the soul is that, after doing the act of charity, I may feel that, oh, I'm such a, good person, that I'm doing so much charity. So it is like feeding the ego. I may become arrogant about it. I may even start to feel, oh, I'm so humble that I'm doing so many things, but actually it is feeding ego at a more subtle level, right? So, and the other is we never know what that act of charity, how that is being used by the other receiver, if we are not in the right consciousness or the right state of mind, right awareness. So these are the two things which we have to be very, very careful about and pay attention to, right? And if we are able to do this, then our mind, our act of charity will be very elevated, because we will not be um, reinforcing that false identity. mm, and the truth of the soul, by just shining this light that you are a soul, I am a soul, just keeping that awareness, shining that light, the whole act of the charity becomes um, elevated. So, this is an amazing truth, and the benefits will be many, many, many more. So, if there are any questions, we could definitely talk about them a little bit later. Let us now go into a short meditation. Like always, we first sit in a relaxed position, and making the body free, free from all tensions. Just release any thoughts and pains that we may be getting stuck in. And we come into that awareness of who we really are. We come into the awareness that we are a soul, and the soul looks like a tiny point of light this tiny point of light is aware of his non physical existence. He's aware of his immortality. He's aware that he's full. He's connected to his truth. He's connected to his true home, which is the world of perfection. This tiny point of light in this world of perfection feels full of all treasures. These treasures are subtle, invisible. There are treasures of peace, happiness, love, respect, and joy. And just by seeing this in clarity and keeping this awareness of who we are, this tiny point of light, and where we belong, this home of perfection, which is non physical and eternal, the true home of the soul. It is like an act of charity for the self as well as for the other. In this awareness, there can be true charity, where we are seeing the other with very elevated and pure feelings. We see them also as being full of all treasures, as tiny points of light belonging to this world of perfection, where there is nothing lacking at an inner level. We fill them and the whole atmosphere and the environment with good wishes. No matter what anyone may be behaving like in the physical realm, we see the truth of the soul, that each one is very loving, cooperative, and respectful. Each one is a tiny point with a halo, benevolent beings of light. And we experience this vast ocean of treasures being attained just by coming into this awareness of being the tiny point of light who's always and forever full. This tiny point of light can experience this attainment for a long period of time. Whenever he comes into this awareness of being a soul, in this space there is no give and take because he's so full that he only wants to share his happiness, share the peace, share the knowledge and the truth that he's aware of. With these treasures of love, cooperation, respect, happiness, peace, there is also a very gentle power that he experiences. And so when he comes and visits this physical world and takes up any act of charity or anything that he does, just by being in the awareness of being a soul, seeing with clarity, he's able to perform the most elevated, the highest act of charity. He does not accept any limited praise out of this act of charity. He's always giving because he is full as an ocean. He shares his experience of happiness, love, and bliss through his every word. His every word is like a nourishment of happiness. When he's seeing the other with such a vision, then every soul will give him cooperation. He's worthy of receiving cooperation. We just take a moment to absorb this experience of being in this awareness and performing true charity, second by second, being in this awareness, we can accumulate the rewards of performing this charity. This act of charity is altruistic in nature. It is an act that is not superficial but done from the heart. This act of true charity is useful for the self, useful for the others. A soul in his true awareness is overflowing and brimming with all the invisible treasures. And he feels content. There is nothing else that he needs. And so we keep this awareness through the rest of the day, that we have an option to accumulate as much as we like just by being in the true awareness for the self and the others. That is the highest charity. That is charity in clarity. Thank you, and hope that we are able to make use of this deeper understanding of what true charity entails and not just limit ourselves to the outwardly act of doing charity or any action or deed, but take it for our own benefit and for the benefit of others that we are interacting with. Take it a level deeper by keeping this awareness of who we are a little deeper. Thank you.